massive thank you to Ollie the Legend, Emmanuel, 102 Pauls, Jason and Thomas for subscribing to the channel. If you're already featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 10 of Season 5 of our F122 My Team Career Mode. Yesterday we return ready for our home Grand Prix. Formula 1 is back at Silverstone here ready for the British GP. And of course, quickly, before we jump into it, if you missed out on the last video from Canada, would highly recommend going back and checking out. I've been seeing the comments from you all. I'm going to be trying to bring this back, this series, 3, maybe 4 times a week, depending on what else we've got going on, of course. The finale of the Haas Road to Glory will be going live as well for those of you that are interested. That'll be going live tomorrow, so yeah, definitely want to get yourself subscribed for that as well. And I mean, even at the time of recording this, we're like 100 subscribers away from 100k. Of course, I'm recording this before this video goes live, obviously, so we might just, if things are going as they have been, we might just about be there. Of course, if we're not, then I look like a mug. If we are, then thank you all so much. But, you know, if we are, if we're not, please do make sure you hit that big red subscribe button down below as well. But championship-wise then, 49 points back behind our teammate Charles Leclerc then as we head to Silverstone. Lando Norris just 9 points back. So both of us, of course, the two Brits right at the front of the championship, will want to be trying to get a win on the board this weekend. Of course, we had a titanic battle with Lando last year when he was at Alpine around this venue. So maybe, just maybe today, we can have another one of those. But hopefully this time round, I'm the one that comes out on top. However, I've got to remember, I need a fresh gearbox. Amazed we've gone basically half the year, though, only using one of them. This car is rather reliable. Sorry, it doesn't wear parts very much. It does like to make them explode sometimes, though. Well, whatever pace issues we had last weekend in Canada certainly has not been the case so far here at Silverstone. Both cars inside the top 3 in both qualifying sessions done so far. Lando Norris, of course, always in that Ferrari, seems to be the thorn in our side there. So brutally consistent is Lando. And again, like I said in the intro, I'm sure he will want to be trying to make the home crowd smile as well. That both of us, I'm sure, will want to be trying to give the lap of the season here. Charles Leclerc, though, has been fastest in Q1 and Q2 there, so certainly is setting the pace as well. We're going to need a low 25 here in Q3. Let's see what we can do then. Such a satisfying track when you get it nailed on F122, especially, of course, with these basically entirely maxed out cars. I think I've got one engine upgrade left to go that I can't even do. I've got to wait for Mercedes to send us, and based on how well they're going on this game at the moment, I don't think it's going to be arriving for a while. Heading down the end of the hangar straight though, having a look on the times. Looks like Lando Norris has not sent a good representative as his first run, as down in towards the final couple of corners. He's sat in the lower half of the top 10 there, way too much curb in towards the final chicane, but we'll try and roll on the power on the way out. What's the time going to be? 25.8. Only puts us P5 there. A little way off where I wanted to be, but we know there's time to find. Well, Charles Leclerc has set the benchmark then, ready for our final run here in Q3, a 1:25.2. We, of course, snatched pole position away at his home Grand Prix. I'm sure he'd love to do the same to us here, rounding out the final corner. This is going to have to be a lap of the ages then if we want to try and beat our teammate. Let's see what we can do. Why on earth did Alex Albon brake on the racing line there? That may have completely ruined this run. We were purple through Sector 1. We're still about a 10th down. It's not over, but that has really cost me a bag of time. too deep through the final couple of turns again, but this could have been the lap of the year by myself. They're 25-3. That could have been a 24, I reckon, had not Albon not done that. There we go then. Charles Leclerc takes pole by just a 10th of a second over myself here at our home Grand Prix. Zhou Guanyu in P3 there ahead of his former teammate Valtteri Bottas. Gasly and Ocon, the two Frenchmen, will line up on row 3 there. Lando Norris, I'm sure, gutted to end up down in P8 after looking very, very racy during Q1 and Q2. But we now have got well, I mean, we've got our first win on the board so far this year. We now actually need to beat Leclerc in a dogfight. Let's do this thing.
Great Britain then, one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every year of the Formula One World Championship. And that record extends further for today's Grand Prix. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of Silverstone Circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, but the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, and Mr. Monaco completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Zhou, Bottas, Pierre Gasly and Ocon, Ricciardo, Norris, Tsunoda and Alex Albon, Stroll, Perez, Oscar Piastri and Drugovich, Mick Schumacher, Daruvala, Daniel Ticktum and Nicholas Latifi, Yuri Vips, Schwartzman, Théo Pourchaire and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. That was a great win in the last race, but can they keep that momentum going into this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
I know this is your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Let's not make any unnecessary risks.
Well, Anthony's right. That win last time out has certainly given my confidence a bit of a boost here on F1 22, but it's not going to stop me from trying to take more dubs. We're going to try and go risky with the strategy here today. We're going to do... Actually, I think we can pit a bit earlier, though, in the Grand Prix there. The soft tyres will do about 10, 11 laps around this circuit. So, yeah, we can afford to try and stretch out the stint a little bit more if it needs to be. But starting on the mediums then, Charles Leclerc, everyone around us starting on the softs. It could be a case of a safety car might hinder us or save us, but only time will tell. I think, yeah, this could be an absolutely titanic battle here at Silverstone between myself and Charles Leclerc. Of course, I think he must have won this race back in Season 1 of this career mode, surely. Charles Leclerc won most races in Season 1 of this series, but yeah, of course, has never won the British Grand Prix in real life. Could have won it last year in real life. Of course, I was stood just up there, which was a rather memorable experience as well. Of course, the best race of real life 2022. Will it be the best race of this season in the F1 My Team career mode? Canada last weekend was pretty damn eventful, so we will wait and see then. Charles Leclerc on softs, myself on medium, Zhou Guanyu, Bottas, Gasly, pretty much everyone else is on soft compound tyres here as we wait for those Aston Martins at the rear of the field. I've just got to lose as few places as possible through the opening couple of turns. But what will happen today then at the British Grand Prix? 26 laps to find out, 5 red lights. Nice lights out, and away we go. Let's try and short shift up the first couple of gears, then get on the throttle. Looks like Gasly and Zhou Guanyu both got a really good start there into turn 1 there. That was Daniel Ricciardo trying to have a look up the inside of myself, but we slammed the door firmly shut on this one, side by side with the two-time Valtteri Bottas there as we head in towards the loop, and he wants nothing to do with it either. Certainly has seen a much more timid Bottas early on in this campaign than we have in previous years. I honestly thought that Red Bull Valtteri combo would be one for the ages there. It looks like Lando Norris, has made up progress at the start, straight into 6th place there as Bottas again trying to have a little bit of a look, but again just backing out of it through the corner. Charles Leclerc not able to break away on this opening lap. Of course, he'll want to desperately try and break the DRS as soon as he can this afternoon there is still tucked up behind the Frenchman as we head through the Loadcell one. No side-by-side dramatics this time round. As you can see, Bottas there again. Just saw my rearview mirror there, running with a bit of an unconventional line, but as we wind our way up through Maggots and Beckett's, then just got to try and keep the front end dialed in on this car. Of course, it will take a little bit longer to warm up these medium compound tyres relative to the soft set, so just going to weave a little bit down the hanger straight, but we have got to just make sure that we stay inside the DRS of these cars in front early on to give ourselves a great chance later there. As you can see, Lando Norris again really has tried to put qualifying behind him and going aggressive lap 1. He's up to P5. It looks like, again, another weekend. 2 races running. Sergio Perez had to pit at the end of lap 1 for front wing damage. He is just absolutely in the wars at the moment. I mean, it does not do Red Bull any favours either in their battles in the championship. But yeah, Lando Norris is really trying to go for it early on in this race. It might be a case of trying to let him pass to see if he can drag us along. But honestly, I think Zhou Guanyu is the cork in the bottle. It's only lap 2. A lot can change. So here we go. Gasly to the inside, down the end of the hanger straight. Clearly, the Frenchman feels the same way as myself there, as Mercedes. Such a bad... Where am I off? Mercedes have had such a bad start to this campaign. It is quite surprising to see them fighting back up towards the front. Of course, we're so used to seeing them somewhere near the front in real-life Formula 1. Often you kind of forget just how out of place it is in this series. There is Charles Leclerc again, extends another half a second at the end of that lap over the rest of the field. He might be able to run away early on, but we've just got to try and stay close and keep pushing. It's all about trying to open up the race to us later on this afternoon. Here we go. Zhou Guanyu's going to try and return the favour on Pierre Gasly as we head down the hanger straight. We might be able to try and follow him by. So Mercedes might lose 2 places at once. Their yellow flag's out. Someone's got issues. Have we picked up an illegal overtake? It's Charles Leclerc! Charles Leclerc out of the Grand Prix early on here, and somehow our teammate, we've had so much bad luck so far this year with engine failures, and Charles Leclerc, after a disastrous technically not Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but Canadian Grand Prix last weekend, is his first engine failure of the year, and suddenly we have got a bit of a lifeline in this race. I cannot believe that on just lap 3 though. Charles Leclerc looking comfortable at the front of the field. I know it was still very, very early doors, but that throws a big, big spanner into the championship battle. Lando Norris, of course, now has got a huge opportunity to retake the championship lead at his home Grand Prix. It also gives us a huge helping hand because Charles Leclerc was really looking like the one big threat to us this afternoon. A lot can still change this afternoon at Silverstone, but Charles Leclerc out of our Grand Prix? This Grand Prix even, I can't quite claim it. The first 8 races of this season, I certainly have not had much luck, but maybe now the tide is beginning to turn once again. The races we have finished, we have been brutally consistent so far this year. It's to the inside of Zhou Guanyu, down the Kemmel straight, hanger straight. I don't know why I'm getting so many my words muddled up here. They clearly I'm flustered, the fact our teammate is out of the Grand Prix there, and I'm still absolutely shocked by that. But it's another race where Mercedes reliability has really let us down there. Zhou Guanyu going to try and get back past me out of the final corner. Through goes Zhou Guanyu. I'm not going to give up on it. Side by side through turn 1. Just running the car out there slightly. He's going to have a look back at the inside into the loop. We're still side by side. What was we wind our way through? Big snap of Osa there. Tiny bit of wheel to wheel banging as we try and head out of the loop. And Zhou Guanyu's gone and pulled it off there. He's leaving out the DRS, I think, for his troubles. Off the corner. No, he won't. Looks like neither of us got this. We must have been tied over the detection point there, but down the end of the Wellington Straight there, we'll try and slot back by, and back into the lead we go then of the British Grand Prix. We've somehow got to try and break out of the DRS, but I don't see that being very easy early on today. Somehow then, as we come towards the end of lap 6, Pierre Gasly and Zhou Guanyu still duking it out has allowed me to break out of the DRS range here, so this race, I mean, like I said, it is still incredibly early doors this afternoon from Silverstone. We know just how aggressive this track can be on power units as well. Of course, so much of this lap taken at full throttle, but almost new fastest lap of the day. But we're now pulling away on harder tyres than the rest of the field. This is shaping up rather nicely. Okay, end of lap 8 then. We're already starting to see the AI diving into the pit lane, coming off their soft compound tyres. They definitely were starting to fall off there, and I think Pierre Gasly at Mercedes, fantastic straight line speed, but he was losing so much through the corners to myself. Of course, just not a quick race car still, that Merc at this stage of this career mode, but we're going to have to go a lot longer, of course, on these mediums. Might have to take them to lap 16, lap 17, and so a bit further than I originally anticipated, but yeah, with Lando Norris still stuck behind Zhou Guanyu, we might be able to try and move past him quite quickly. He's probably still my only major threat today, because it did just seem like we had that bit extra over every other car around this venue. Any bad luck we had in Canada, and of course Charles Leclerc's lack of pace in Baku the week before that, of course, in the actual race we did. Yeah, those issues seem to have gone away here at Silverstone. Got pretty much every other car, though, peeling into the pit lane. Looks like Mick Schumacher has opted to stay out just for one extra lap, so quite clear that the AI can go that bit further if they need to. But looks like also Lando Norris got the move done on Zhou Guanyu, so that Ferrari is still going to be a threat throughout the second half of today, especially if he can break free away from those other cars. There is Albon. Looks like he's gone the same way as me on strategy. I'll be intrigued to see where he ends up, although he is in a pretty slow Williams there. He's looking on the mini-map. Lando Norris might actually get quite a big jump on Pierre Gasly. I need to make sure I'm looking at the mini-map down the straights rather than through the corners, though. Is Lando Norris heading back out of the pits? No, he will not. In fact, he'll lose the place. Oh no, he'll stay ahead of Bottas. But yeah, still behind Pierre. Still just see out the corner of my eye. I think it's Bottas and Gasly that keep duking out. I think Ocon now as well has made a move on Lando Norris. So there is still an almighty battle going on further behind us. But at the moment, we're just trying to make sure we keep the pace up on these mediums. Mark has just warned me that they might start to fall off over the next few laps, but they feel pretty good for now. We are just in a rhythm. There we go. First lap into the 127s now of the Grand Prix, but I'm still just looking at that gap behind us. I'm pretty certain that train of cars from Bottas in P3 must extend down to about P14 in this Grand Prix there. It is an absolutely almighty pile. That's not going to do me any favours. Just took a bit too much curb on the inside there, actually nicked over the red curb, and now that really does put our lead into jeopardy. Focus up. Stop looking at the minimap map and focus on doing what I should be doing. Half distance now here in Silverstone, and how much time did we lose to Albon? About 5 seconds. That's not doing us any favours. Okay, starting 14, Albon's peeled in. Is he going soft, or is he going hard then to the end of the Grand Prix? My guess is he's pitting over onto a set of hard compound tyres to see him right the way through to the end, which is not really a wise call. Could have actually been in quite a decent position in this Grand Prix had he gone the other way, but yeah, hard tyres onto that Williams, so I guess we don't really worry about what he's doing. I just forgot to pit, didn't I? Oh, oopsie poopsie. Anyway, we'll box then at the end of this lap. I was going to come into 16, but to be honest, it's not like we're losing any time to Bottas behind us at the moment. Tyre warning light has just flashed up, but yeah, those softs should nicely make it to the end of this Grand Prix. I am intrigued to see where we are going to re-emerge, though. Here, it looks like there's some gaps starting to form in those battle packs. Gasly, Bottas, Ricciardo all been able to stay ahead of, I think that must be Ocon and Lando Norris there. And I mean, Norris, I think he needs 5th place or higher today if he wants to take the lead of the championship. At the moment, he's 6th. End of the hanger straight though. The understeer we had through Maggots and Beckett's definitely has been a nice reminder this time round that I need to pit. Just try and get it slowed down. Don't really need to take any big risks at this stage of the day. I mean, we should re-emerge. It'll be very, very tight, I think, between us and Bottas on pit exit, but I'm thinking despite the little half spin, we still should re-emerge in the lead of this Grand Prix. It has been a fantastic first stint, and like I said, of course, you know, it really was meant to be Charles Leclerc, myself, and Lando Norris this weekend, but with Lando stuck in traffic and Charles Leclerc stuck probably at a hotel nearby now, fed up with that performance.
That was a fantastic
this
stop.
has really given us quite a lifeline here. As you can see, Bottas heading through the final chicane. We're now going to be on softer, quicker tyres right the way through to the checkered flag, and looking at it, I think we're still going to be in the lead of this race then. Easy, as we head over that bump on pit exit there, and look at that, we have stayed in the lead of the British Grand Prix there. It's not going to be by much. Bottas might get one chance at it as I try and build up some temperature in the tyres, but if we can keep it at bay, this might be just one of those races where we've got to try and cruise it home. They use plenty of battery as we head down the back straight. Just make sure we keep him back. I think we might just about have done enough. Of course, got to just be careful as we head through Brooklands and Luffield. Just make sure again that we're easy on the throttle. The cold tyres can snap round on you in an instant. You can see there he is, still a bit more confident on the traction, but surely now 8 laps to go of the British Grand Prix. We can just try and pull away, stretch our legs, and really enjoy this car. We have had a few races where we've been sat at the front, but pretty much all of them have gone away from us. We enjoyed 4 laps at the end of the Canadian Grand Prix last weekend. We spent most of this one today out front, but will we stay here? Well, that might make Lando Norris' day a little bit easier then. His teammate apparently with some mechanical issues late on in the afternoon. It's been a shame for Danny Rick. Could have won last weekend out in Canada. Has definitely been right back at the front this weekend as well. It seems like a bit of a rejuvenated Australian in that Ferrari car, but again, the luck just is not going to go his way. We've gone purple sector 1, purple sector 2. What will this lap time be? As we round our way through the final couple of turns, let's just keep trying to push on, make sure we cement ourselves with this fastest lap comfortably. A cut above the rest there is through the final couple of turns to start lap 20 here at Silverstone, round in the final corner. 26.8 there. That's only a second and a half away from what we did in qualifying, and I think quicker than a few cars managed in qualifying. Let's get this thing to the flag. 4 laps to go then here from Silverstone. I'm just looking actually at some of the other battles going on. Hello. Around the mini-map there. Lando Norris now up at a P3, so yeah, has decided he's just going to sit back for a little while and is now really trying to tear his way through some of these other cars. I mean, the likes of Gasly and Bottas and Esteban Ocon, really, their cars are not as quick as that Ferrari. It is definitely clear-cut second best car of the grid at the moment there. I mean, at least, yeah, with Lando Norris behind the wheels, so yeah, he is now finally making a bit more progress then. So if things were to end as they are, of course, we'll take big points out of Charles Leclerc and we'll take the lead of the Drivers' World Championship. But weird to think, of course, that, you know, had Baku actually saved properly like it was meant to, Charles Leclerc would have scored, I think, about 6 points in the last 3 Grand Prix. Lando Norris and myself, well, I would have scored about 68, 70. Lando Norris there would have scored at least 55, I want to say, there or thereabouts. So Charles Leclerc should be a long, long way back in the Drivers' Championship. Just how quickly it can turn in F1 My Team here. I mean, if things were to finish now, of course, Lando Norris would take the lead of the title, but we'd only be about 30 points away suddenly. We have hopefully given ourselves a lifeline there as Lando Norris making another move down the end of the back straight. This time round it's on Valtteri Bottas. And there we go, the Ferrari car back to where I was expecting him to be at very least, into P2. And in the final couple of turns then to start the final lap of the British Grand Prix. And, well, apparently on F1 22, wins are like buses for myself. We go 8 races without being able to take a single one, and suddenly it might be 2 in a row there. I've had absolutely ferocious pace all afternoon. Feel like I should have got pole yesterday in qualifying had it not been for Alex Albon's interesting interpretation of blue flags. They dived it into an apex that I was already having to go for. They just sat on the racing line. Looks like Lando Norris has been able to get past Bottas there, and Gasly, that Mercedes that was fighting for P2 all afternoon, has suddenly dropped back to P5 there, so I'm sure they will still be, I mean, 10 points for Merck at the moment is 10 points, but I'm sure they're still a little bit gutted with what could have been this afternoon. But for us, I don't think we can really complain too much. Of course, you know, always want to see our teammate Charles Leclerc scoring points, but there's a small part of me that's happy it's not just myself with all the bad luck early on in this campaign there. Charles Leclerc, as we get towards the summer break, I'm sure after the last couple of races, will be willing that rest period for himself there just to regroup, recover, ready for the second half of the year. But heading down the hangar straight then for the final time this weekend, Charles Leclerc, of course, we took pole at his home Grand Prix, but he won through the final couple of turns. He took pole at my home Grand Prix, but as we round our way through the final chicane, we are going to take the win in front of the home crowd there. Lando Norris makes it a British 1-2. We cannot complain about that. 2 in a row.
Oh, did I win? Or did I win? Woo-hoo! Come on! Absolutely fantastic. That is a brilliant, brilliant result. Well done.
then, a fantastic British Grand Prix, and what a performance it was from our race winners today. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
Here comes your top three, making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Lando Norris takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after that excellent result. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I think for driver of the day, I'd probably pick Lando Norris. He lived up to every inch of his reputation today, and I think he'll be going home, quite rightly, a bit proud of himself.
Let's move on to the constructors. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. There was also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today, as they make their way up the standings. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, there we are then, the end of the British Grand Prix, and while it might have been one Brit taking the win, but the other one now, of course, re-leads the World Championship as well there, but continuing to take points out of Lando and Charles Leclerc, we are not out of it. Valtteri Bottas takes P3 ahead of Ocon and Pierre Gasly there. Stroll, Zhou, Piastri, Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher rounding out our top 10. And yeah, Felipe Drugovich unlucky not score a couple of points. Charles Leclerc, the only car not to make it to the checkered flag, means championship-wise, 32 points now cover the top three, and we're just 23 behind the Monegasque driver there. Lando Norris, I mean, after 10 races, 150 points. It's not bad going, but it's still been such, you know, an even championship between so many drivers, just constantly taking points away from each other there. Ocon jumps Ricciardo, Bottas jumps Perez, his teammate, so after a rough start to the year, Checo Perez certainly is falling off relative to the flying Finn there. Gasly and Piastri jump Drugovich and Alex Albon there, no other movers further down the roster. And constructors-wise, we do continue to open up that gap ahead of Ferrari there, 58 points as we leave this weekend. McLaren re-jump Alpine, Mercedes jump Haas as well. There is still plenty left to be decided in towards the second half of this campaign. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure and leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. And we will return very, very soon when Formula One heads to Austria. It's another sprint weekend. Hopefully, it can go better than Imola did. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.